This video addresses the daily use of Interview. The first step in using Interview on a daily basis is to look at the Interview browser. Normally you would expect to see all blue filled boxes because normally you would admin verify your devices to their location, and as you go through your network you're not expecting to see any tan or red filled boxes, and in this network we don't. If there were such a device, it would look like this. This tells you the device is a new device, or it's the new position of a device which has been admin verified. Since there are no red filled boxes in this network, that represents a new device. And we can go and right click on it and look at the event log to see when the device was discovered and what happened to it since it was new in the network. If this device is permitted on the network, we can go to configure its properties and admin verify the device. And now we have a network that's filled with only blue boxes again. Since the Interview browser display represents the real-time situation in your network and you want to know what happened since the last time you viewed Interview, you should pull up the event log for the whole system. I'm going to scan backwards in time. The meaning of ping response thresholds cleared and being exceeded is dependent on your knowledge of what these devices are. If you have any doubt, you can click on one and you center the device in Interview, for instance. And here we can look at the thresholding for this particular device, and we see that lately it's been exceeding its ping threshold. Its limit is set for 30 milliseconds, which is this line extending to the right here, but it lately has had some very long ping times approaching 200 milliseconds. If this was to be normal, we could have set the ping thresholds to be higher, so there would be less messages in the event log. Here's a device that reconnected. Go to previous. Here are some devices that a group of 4 moved at 11:37, at 11:36. They made another move. This is a significant event. Here's a switch that reports a MAC address is now on port 8. It was on 1. After reviewing the event log for any unusual events, it's a good idea to go to the top parent in each Interview network, and here we only have one. Right click on it and go to Threshold Graphs. This will come up with only the devices directly connected to the point you clicked on. Next, I'm going to select all, and I'm going to go for the 6-hour period since I want to see back in time. And I'll click Graph Now, and I'll be looking at ping response times over the last 6 hours. This will be meaningful to you based on your prior knowledge of the way your network should look under normal, quote-unquote, conditions. Let's just see how it looked over 60 hours for the same devices. And in fact, we see on the 19th, between 10 and 12 o'clock, there is some dramatic new behavior in the network, and we see something that happened during this period on the 18th, also between 12 and 1600. And the 17th, we don't see the same thing. Let's look at ping failures. Ping failures is sometimes a little bit hard to read when there's lots of devices that have failed at the same time. We'll use the zoom feature and we'll zoom in here and we'll look at what devices are disconnected. We may have to zoom in a couple of times to separate all the lines. Remember, we artificially increase the percent of ping failure for devices at 100% so that when you zoom in, you can actually see them and they won't overlie the 100% mark. Hovering your mouse gives you the IP address. This is a PC. I see Susan and her PC is not on. That's to be expected. That's a VM workstation. That VM session isn't running. Zoom out by drawing a box up and to the right. Let's look at the received bandwidth. The 101158 switch. Maybe we should go take a look at that switch in particular. So I close the threshold graphs, go to my search function, add the 58, search. Here's the 58. Let's look at the line graphs and let's look also at 60 hours. And we can see that this is a device that connects and disconnects from the network on a regular basis. In summary, your daily use of Interview should include browsing the topology looking for colors that indicate problems, review the event log. You can move easily between events and devices. Review the multiple threshold graphs by selecting top parents in each Interview network. And finally, review the threshold graphs on connecting lines.